The divorce papers were sitting on my kitchen table like a death sentence, and I still couldn't understand how we'd gotten here. 3 months ago, I was Kalantha Price, happily married mother of one, living what I thought was a perfectly normal suburban life. Now I'm staring at legal documents that could tear apart everything I'd built. It all started with one night at Club Meridian downtown. One stupid night where I thought I was just having fun. "Mummy, why is Daddy sleeping in the guest room again?" Isa asked, her 7-year-old voice cutting through my thoughts as she climbed onto the kitchen stool beside me. I forced a smile, pushing the papers under a magazine. "Daddy's just having trouble sleeping, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups need space." But that wasn't the truth. The truth was that Adrien hadn't spoken to me properly in 3 days, not since he'd seen me at the club with Jessie, not since Marcus Evans, his co-worker, had apparently filled him in on exactly what I'd been doing on the dance floor. I remember that night so clearly now. It was supposed to be innocent, just a girls' night out with my sister Sabine and a few friends. We'd been drinking, laughing, dancing. When Jesse showed up with his girlfriend Tasha, I was already feeling good, feeling free for the first time in months. "Come on, Cal," Jesse had said, pulling me onto the dance floor. "Show me those moves you were bragging about." Jesse Parr was everything Adrien wasn't. Spontaneous, physical, confident in a way that made everyone around him feel electric. We'd known him for years through mutual friends, and there had always been this tension between us. Nothing serious, just harmless flirting that made me feel young again. But that night, something shifted. "I'm feeling dangerous tonight," I'd laughed, spinning around as the music pounded through the speakers. I told everyone they could touch me at the club. It was supposed to be a joke, a silly, drunk comment that meant nothing. But when Jesse's hands found my waist, when other guys started joining us on the dance floor, when I let them get closer than I probably should have, it stopped feeling like a joke. I was 34 years old, married for 8 years, and for the first time in forever, I felt desired. Not just by my husband, who saw me fold laundry and pay bills and argue with our daughter about homework, but by strangers who saw me as mysterious, exciting, available. The word available should have been a red flag, but in that moment, with the lights flashing and the music loud enough to drown out my conscience, I didn't care. "Kalantha." Adrien's voice behind me now was cold, professional, the same tone he used when reviewing financial reports at work. I turned around, my heart jumping. He was standing in the kitchen doorway, still in his work clothes, even though it was past 8 p.m. His dark hair was messier than usual, and there were circles under his eyes that hadn't been there a week ago. "We need to talk," he said. "Isa's right here," I whispered, nodding toward our daughter, who was now coloring at the kitchen table. "Isa, go watch TV in the living room for a few minutes," Adrien said gently. "Mommy and Daddy need to have a grown-up conversation." She looked between us with those two smart eyes that missed nothing. "Are you getting divorced like Emma's parents?" The question hit me like a physical blow. "No, sweetheart, we're just talking. Go on." After she left, Adrien sat down across from me at the table. He looked exhausted, defeated in a way I'd never seen before. "Marcus sent me a video," he said quietly. My stomach dropped. "Adrien, I can explain." A video of my wife telling a crowded dance floor that everyone could touch her. A video of you grinding against Jesse Parr while his girlfriend watched. A video of you letting random men put their hands all over you. "It wasn't like that," I said quickly. "It was just dancing, just having fun. You're making it sound worse than it was." "Am I?" He pulled out his phone and I heard my own voice, loud and slurred. "I told everyone they could touch me at the club. Come on, don't be shy." Watching myself on that small screen was surreal. The woman in the video looked like me, but she was acting like someone I didn't recognize. Her dress was hiked up too high, her movements too suggestive, her hands all over Jesse while other men crowded around them. "That's not who I am," I whispered. "Isn't it?" Adrien's voice was so quiet I had to strain to hear him. Because that woman looks exactly like my wife. She sounds exactly like my wife. And she's telling a room full of strangers that she's available for touching. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. It meant something to me. He stood up, pacing to the window. Do you know how it felt to have my coworker show me that video? To have him ask me if I knew what my wife was doing at clubs? To see other guys commenting on it, sharing it, talking about you like you were... Like I was what? Like you were single. The words hung in the air between us. I wanted to argue, to defend myself, but the evidence was right there on his phone. I could see why it looked bad, but he was missing the context, the feeling of that moment, the innocence behind it. Nothing happened, I said finally. I danced with some people. That's it. You're acting like I cheated on you. Didn't you? The question caught me off guard. No, I didn't sleep with anyone. I didn't even kiss anyone. I was just being friendly. Friendly? He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Is that what we're calling it? Adrien, you're being ridiculous. So I had a little fun at a club. So I danced with some guys. That doesn't make me a terrible person. That doesn't mean I don't love you and Issa. But it means you don't respect me. His words hit harder than I expected. That's not fair. Isn't it? You went out and publicly humiliated me. You let other men touch you in ways that should be reserved for your husband. You told a room full of strangers that you were available. And now half the city has seen a video of you acting like you're not married. I could feel tears starting, but I pushed them back. You're making this bigger than it is. It was one night. One stupid night where I had a few drinks and acted silly. Why can't you just let it go? Because I can't unsee it, Kalantha. I can't unknow that when you thought I wasn't watching, this is who you chose to be. He walked toward the stairs, then stopped. I'm sleeping in the guest room again tonight. We'll talk more tomorrow when I've had time to think. Adrien, wait. But he was already gone, leaving me alone with the divorce papers I'd tried to hide, and the sinking realization that my one night of harmless fun might cost me everything. I pulled out my phone and texted my sister Sabine. Adrien is being completely unreasonable about the club thing. He's acting like I committed murder or something. Her response came back immediately. Ignore him. He's just insecure. You did nothing wrong. Men hate when their wives have fun without them. Reading her words made me feel better, more justified. Maybe Adrien was overreacting. Maybe this was more about his own insecurities than about anything I'd actually done wrong. But as I sat there in my kitchen, listening to my husband move around upstairs in a room that used to be his office, I couldn't shake the feeling that something fundamental had shifted between us. And when his phone buzzed with another message, probably another person who'd seen the video, I realized this was just the beginning. I woke up to 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. My phone had been buzzing all night, but I'd ignored it, hoping whatever drama was brewing would die down by morning. I was wrong. The first message was from my coworker Jennifer. Girl, you're trending on the Downtown Club Facebook page. Might want to check it out. My hands were shaking as I opened Facebook. There it was, the video from Club Meridian, posted by someone I didn't even recognize, with over 300 comments and counting. Local marketing coordinator Kalantha Price shows everyone how to party, read the caption, followed by laughing emojis. The comments were brutal. Isn't she married? I've seen her husband at the coffee shop on 5th Street. This is why I don't trust married women at clubs. Poor guy. Someone should tell him what his wife is up to. She literally said everyone could touch her. That's not normal married woman behavior. I scrolled through dozens more, each one making my stomach turn. People were sharing it, tagging their friends, treating my personal moment like entertainment. Mum? Issa appeared in my bedroom doorway, already dressed for school. Dad made me breakfast, but he looks really sad. I forced a smile. I'll be down in a minute, baby. After she left, I called in sick to work. There was no way I could face my colleagues today. Not when they'd probably all seen the video by now. My phone rang. Sabine. "Have you seen the Facebook post?" she asked immediately. "Unfortunately, yes." "This is insane. People are acting like you murdered someone. It's just a stupid video of you having fun." "Try telling that to Adrien. He's barely speaking to me." "He'll get over it. Men always do. You just need to control the narrative." "What do you mean?" "Post something. Make it clear that people are blowing this out of proportion. Show them you're not ashamed of having a good time." It seemed like good advice. I spent an hour crafting the perfect Facebook post. It's really sad when people try to shame a woman for dancing and having fun with friends. I went out, I danced, I enjoyed myself. I'm not apologizing for living my life. To everyone sharing that video and making nasty comments, maybe focus on your own relationships instead of judging mine. Some people clearly need better hobbies. No shame. Living my life. Corn haters. Within minutes, the post had dozens of likes and supportive comments from friends. "You go, girl, don't let them shame you. People are so jealous. You looked amazing that night. Your husband is lucky to have such a fun wife." But for every supportive comment, there were two negative ones. This is exactly the attitude that destroys marriages. Imagine if your husband was grinding on random women at a club. Your poor daughter is going to see this someday. I started deleting the negative comments as fast as they appeared, but more kept coming. The post was being shared now, spreading beyond my friend circle to people I'd never met. My phone rang. My mother. "Kalantha, what is this video your Aunt Linda sent me?" My heart sank. If Aunt Linda had seen it, the whole family knew by now. "Mum, it's not what it looks like. It looks like you're letting strange men put their hands all over you while you announce that everyone can touch you. What exactly am I supposed to think it is?" "I was just having fun. I had a few drinks, I was dancing." "You're a married woman with a 7-year-old daughter. This isn't how married women behave, Kalantha." "That's not fair. I'm allowed to go out and have fun." "Of course you are, but there's a difference between having fun and this. What does Adrien think?" "He's overreacting, just like everyone else." There was a long pause. "Maybe you should consider that if everyone is having the same reaction, the problem isn't with everyone else." After she hung up, I felt even worse. My own mother was taking Adrien's side. I decided to go to our usual Sunday brunch spot to meet Sabine and show everyone that I wasn't hiding, that I had nothing to be ashamed of. The Riverside Cafe was crowded as always, but I noticed people staring as soon as I walked in. Conversation stopped mid-sentence, heads turned, phones came out. "Ignore them," Sabine said when I sat down at our table. "They're just jealous that you have the confidence to be yourself." But it was hard to ignore when I could hear whispers from nearby tables. "That's her, the one from the video. I can't believe she showed her face here. If my wife did that, I'd divorce her too." "Wait, they're getting divorced?" My appetite disappeared. "Did you hear that? They think we're getting divorced." "So what? Let them think whatever they want. You know the truth." But what was the truth? The divorce papers were real. Adrien had barely looked at me this morning. Our marriage was hanging by a thread, and everyone in town seemed to know it. Halfway through brunch, Tasha Lynn appeared at our table. Jesse's girlfriend looked furious. "We need to talk," she said, pulling up a chair without being invited. "I don't think we have anything to discuss," I replied coolly. "Oh, we definitely do. That video of you all over my boyfriend, that needs to stop being shared. I don't control what other people post on social media. But you controlled what happened that night. You controlled putting your hands all over Jesse. You controlled telling everyone they could touch you while you were grinding against him." Sabine leaned forward. "She was just dancing. If your boyfriend can't handle being around other women without you getting jealous—" "This isn't about jealousy," Tasha snapped. "This is about respect. Kalantha is married. Jesse is in a relationship with me. What happened that night crossed every possible line." "Nothing happened," I insisted. "We danced. That's it. You call that dancing? You were practically having sex on the dance floor. That's ridiculous. Is it? Because I have the video too, and I can see exactly where his hands were. I can see exactly how you were moving against him. I can hear exactly what you were saying. People at nearby tables were definitely listening now. Our conversation was becoming a public spectacle. Look, I said, lowering my voice. I'm sorry if you misunderstood what happened, but I didn't misunderstand anything, and neither did your husband, apparently. She stood up. Stay away from Jesse. Stay away from both of us. And maybe think about why your own husband won't defend you. After she left, the restaurant felt suffocating. Everyone was staring, whispering, judging. She's just insecure, Sabine said, but her voice lacked conviction. On the drive home, I got a text from an unknown number. Saw your Facebook post, thought you should see this. Attached was a screenshot of another post, this one from someone named Mike Patterson. This is why I don't let my wife go out without me. Kalantha Price from downtown. Perfect example of what happens when wives think they're single. The post had been shared 67 times. I was becoming a cautionary tale, the woman other husbands pointed to when they wanted to control their wives. The thought made me sick. When I got home, Adrien was in his office, the guest room, with the door closed. I could hear him on the phone, speaking in low tones. I knocked. Can we talk? I'm busy. Adrien, please. People are saying we're getting divorced. We need to present a united front. The door opened. He looked exhausted. Are you asking me to publicly defend what you did? I'm asking you to defend your wife. My wife humiliated me in front of half the city. My wife is more concerned about her image than about our marriage. My wife just spent the day at brunch, acting like nothing happened instead of trying to fix this. There's nothing to fix. I went out, I had fun, I danced. That's not a crime. No, it's not a crime, but it is a choice. And it's a choice that tells me exactly where your priorities are. He started to close the door, then stopped. By the way, I spoke to a lawyer today, just to understand our options. The words hit me like ice water. You did what? I need to know where I stand legally, what my rights are, what Issa's rights are. You can't be serious. I've never been more serious about anything in my life. The door closed, leaving me alone in the hallway with the sound of my world falling apart. That night, I lay in bed scrolling through social media, watching my life become public entertainment. The video had been shared to 3 different Facebook groups now. Someone had posted it on Instagram. A local gossip blog had picked it up. I was famous for all the wrong reasons, and my husband was talking to lawyers. How had one night of fun turned into this nightmare? Monday morning brought a new humiliation I hadn't anticipated. I was dropping Issa off at Riverside Elementary when her teacher, Mrs. Rodriguez, approached me with a concerned expression. Mrs. Price, could I speak with you privately for a moment? My stomach dropped. Is everything okay? Is Issa in trouble? No, nothing like that, but I am concerned about her emotional state lately. She's been distracted in class, and this morning she asked me if parents always get divorced when they fight. I glanced toward the classroom where Issa was hanging up her backpack, looking small and worried. We're going through a rough patch at home. Nothing serious. Mrs. Rodriguez nodded sympathetically, but I could see the knowledge in her eyes. She'd probably seen the video too. In a town this size, everyone had seen it by now. Children are very perceptive, she said gently. They pick up on tension, even when we think we're hiding it well. If you need resources for family counseling or... We're fine, I cut her off. Thank you for your concern, but we can handle our family matters privately. The drive to work was torture. Every red light felt like an opportunity for people in other cars to stare at me. Every person walking down the sidewalk looked like someone who might have seen the video. At Morrison Marketing, my worst fears were confirmed. The office was buzzing with whispered conversations that stopped abruptly when I walked by. Jennifer from accounting, gave me a sympathetic smile that somehow felt worse than outright hostility. "Kalantha," my boss Richard called from his office. "Could I see you for a moment?" This was it. I was going to be fired because of one night of dancing. "Sit down," Richard said, closing the door behind me. "I want to address something that's been brought to my attention. If this is about the video, it is. Now, what you do in your personal time is generally none of my business. However, when it affects the workplace environment or the company's reputation, it becomes my concern. I don't see how dancing at a club affects Morrison marketing. You're listed as a marketing coordinator on your social media profiles. Your Facebook post yesterday has been shared extensively, and several clients have mentioned seeing it. The video itself has been viewed thousands of times locally." I felt heat rising in my cheeks. "So what are you saying?" "I'm saying that we need to be mindful of how our employees represent the company, even in their personal lives. I'm not taking any disciplinary action at this time, but I need you to understand that this situation reflects on all of us." "Understood," I said through gritted teeth. "And Kalantha, you might want to consider making your social media profiles private. This kind of attention rarely dies down on its own." The rest of the workday was a nightmare of sideways glances and hushed conversations. During lunch, I hid in my car and called Sabine. "This is getting out of hand," I told her. "Even my boss knows about it. Issa's teacher is asking questions. I feel like I'm being punished for having one fun night." "You are being punished," Sabine agreed. "It's completely unfair. You're a grown woman who went out dancing. Since when is that a crime?" "That's what I keep saying, but no one's listening." "What does Adrien say?" "He's still barely speaking to me. He mentioned talking to a lawyer yesterday." "He's bluffing. He's trying to scare you into groveling. Don't give him that satisfaction." But when I got home that evening, Adrien wasn't bluffing about anything. He was in the kitchen making dinner, something he never did unless I was sick or out of town. "Where's Issa?" I asked. "Upstairs doing homework. We need to talk." He served me a plate of pasta and sat down across from me. For a moment, it felt almost normal, like we were just a married couple having dinner together. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened," he said, "about what it means for us." "Good. I hope you realize you've been overreacting." His face hardened. "I've been overreacting. Kalantha, do you have any idea what the last few days have been like for me? They haven't exactly been easy for me either. My co-workers are asking me if I knew my wife was at clubs telling men they could touch her. My mother called me crying because her bridge club friends showed her the video. I can't go to the grocery store without people staring at me like I'm some kind of fool. That's not my fault. That's people being nosy and judgmental. It's the direct result of your choices that night. My choice to have fun, my choice to dance. I'm sorry people are being weird about it, but I can't control how others react to perfectly normal behavior." Adrien stared at me for a long moment. "Do you really believe that what you did was perfectly normal?" "Yes, I went out with friends, I had some drinks, I danced. Millions of people do that every weekend. Married people tell rooms full of strangers that everyone can touch them." "It was a joke, Adrien. A silly drunk comment that people are taking way too seriously." "Show me the video again." "What?" "Show me the video. Let's watch it together, and you can point out the parts that are jokes." I didn't want to watch it again, but I pulled out my phone and found the clip. We sat in silence as my voice filled the kitchen. I told everyone they could touch me at the club. "Come on, don't be shy." On the small screen, I watched myself pull Jessie closer, watched other men join us, watched my hands roam over Jesse's chest while his girlfriend stood nearby looking uncomfortable. "There," Adrien said when it ended. "Show me the joke." I was drunk. I was being silly. You were being sexual, with other men, in public, while announcing your availability to anyone who was interested. That's not what I was doing. Then what were you doing? I struggled for an answer. I was feeling good about myself. For the first time in months, I felt attractive and fun and alive. Is that so wrong? Feeling attractive isn't wrong, but the way you chose to express it was. The way you chose to get that validation was. From who? From Jessie. We've been friends for years. Jessie is married to Tasha, and you're married to me. What happened between you two crossed every possible boundary. Nothing happened between us. Something happened. Maybe not sex, maybe not kissing, but something happened, and everyone who saw that video knows it. I wanted to argue, but the evidence was right there on my phone. The way Jessie and I moved together, the way I touched him, the way I looked at him, it did look like something more than innocent dancing. I need some air, I said, standing up. We're not done talking. Yes, we are. I can't keep having the same conversation over and over. I made a mistake in judgment. I'm sorry people saw it. I'm sorry it embarrassed you, but I can't change what happened, and I can't keep apologizing for living my life. Living your life? Is that what you call it? Yes, and if you can't handle being married to someone who occasionally goes out and has fun, maybe you should talk to more lawyers. The words were out before I could stop them. Adrien's face went completely blank. Maybe I should, he said quietly. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Mrs. Rodriguez's concerned face, about Richard's warning, about the way people stared at me everywhere I went. My phone buzzed with a text from Jessie. Hey, can we talk? This whole thing is getting out of hand. Finally, someone who understood. I texted back. Yes, coffee tomorrow. Can't do public, too much attention. Come by the gym during my lunch break. We can talk privately. I agreed, feeling relieved that at least one person involved wasn't treating me like a pariah. But when I rolled over, I noticed Adrien's side of the bed was empty. He was sleeping in the guest room again, and this time I had a feeling it wasn't temporary. The walls were closing in, and for the first time since this whole mess started, I wondered if I really was as innocent as I kept telling everyone. I met Jessie at Apex Fitness the next day during his lunch break. The gym was nearly empty, just a few dedicated workout enthusiasts and the hum of treadmills in the background. This is insane, Jessie said immediately, leading me to a quiet corner near the stretching mats. Tasha is furious. She's threatening to move out. I'm sorry. I never meant for any of this to affect your relationship. What did you think would happen? That video is everywhere, Cal. Everyone we know has seen it. It was just dancing, I said, but the words felt hollow even to me now. Jessie ran his hands through his hair. Look, I like you. I've always liked you. But what happened that night? It wasn't just dancing, and we both know it. My heart skipped. What do you mean? I mean, there's always been something between us. Some kind of chemistry. And that night, with the drinks and the music and you saying what you said, it felt like you were giving me permission to act on it. I wasn't, weren't you? Because it sure felt like you were. And I responded to that. We both did things we shouldn't have done. Nothing happened, I insisted. Maybe not technically, but something definitely happened. And now my girlfriend won't trust me. Your husband is talking to lawyers, and half the city thinks we're having an affair. Are we? The question slipped out before I could stop it. Jessie stared at me. Are we what? Having an affair. I mean, do you want to be? Kalantha, don't. I'm serious. Everyone already thinks we are. My marriage is probably over anyway. Maybe we should just... No. Jessie stepped back. No, we shouldn't. You're married. I'm in a relationship. This whole mess started because we forgot those facts for one night. So what are you saying? I'm saying we need distance. Real distance. Tasha is right. What happened between us was inappropriate, and continuing to see each other is just making everything worse. I felt like he'd slapped me. So you're abandoning me too? I'm trying to save both our relationships. You should be doing the same thing. My relationship is already destroyed. Because you're not fighting for it. You're so busy defending what happened that you're not acknowledging how much you hurt Adrien. I didn't mean to hurt him. But you did. And until you can admit that, really admit it, Nothing's going to get better. Jessie walked away, leaving me alone in the gym with the crushing realization that I'd lost another ally. Everyone was abandoning me, my husband, my friends, and now Jessie. That afternoon, I got a call from Adrien's mother, Miriam. "Kalantha, dear, could we meet for coffee? I think we need to talk." Miriam had always been polite to me, but we weren't close. She was traditional, religious, and had probably never set foot in a nightclub in her life. We met at Brewster's Coffee House, a quiet place downtown where she'd be comfortable. She was already waiting when I arrived, her silver hair perfectly styled, her expression serious but not unkind. "Thank you for meeting me," she said as I sat down. "Of course. How are you doing?" "I'm worried about my son, I'm worried about my granddaughter, and I'm worried about you." "Miriam, if this is about the video, it is about the video, but it's also about what happens next." She pulled out her phone and set it on the table between us. "I've seen it, Kalantha. Several people have sent it to me, thinking I should know what my daughter-in-law was doing." My cheeks burned. "I'm sorry you had to see that." "Are you? Are you really sorry?" "Of course I am. I never wanted to embarrass the family." "But are you sorry for what you did, or just sorry that people saw it?" The question caught me off guard. Both, I guess." "That's not the same thing." Miriam leaned forward. "I've been married for 38 years. I've seen marriages survive infidelity, addiction, financial ruin, illness, but I've never seen a marriage survive when one partner refuses to take responsibility for their actions." "I'm not refusing." "Yes, you are. I've seen your Facebook posts. I've heard from Sabine what you've been saying. You think you're being persecuted for having fun. You think everyone else is overreacting. Aren't they?" Miriam was quiet for a long moment. "Let me ask you something. If Adrien had gone to a club and announced that everyone could touch him, if he'd danced with other women the way you danced with that young man, if there was a video of him being intimate with someone else, how would you feel?" I started to say it would be different, but the words died in my throat. The truth was, if I'd seen a video of Adrien grinding against another woman, letting her touch him, telling a room full of people that he was available, I would have been devastated. "That's different," I said weakly. "How?" "I don't know. It just is." "It's not different at all. You violated your marriage vows that night. Maybe not technically, but in spirit. You put your desire for attention and validation above your commitment to your family. It was one night. One night can destroy a lifetime of trust, and instead of trying to rebuild that trust, you're demanding that everyone pretend it doesn't matter." I felt tears starting. What am I supposed to do? I can't change what happened. "No, but you can change how you respond to it. You can stop defending it and start acknowledging the harm you've caused. You can stop blaming everyone else for their reactions and start taking responsibility for your actions. But if I do that, if I admit I was wrong, then everyone will think—" "Everyone already thinks it, dear. The question is whether you're going to let pride destroy your marriage, or whether you're going to fight for your family." After she left, I sat in the coffee shop for another hour, thinking about her words. Maybe she was right. Maybe I had been so focused on defending myself that I'd forgotten to consider how my actions had affected the people I loved. I decided to call Sabine for support, but when she answered, her voice was strange. "Cal, I need to tell you something." "What's wrong?" "I've been thinking about everything that's happened, and I think maybe you should consider that people aren't overreacting." "What? You're the one who told me to ignore them." "I know, and I'm sorry. I was trying to be supportive, but I think I was enabling you instead." "Enabling me to what?" "To avoid taking responsibility. Cal, I love you, but what you did that night was wrong, and the way you've handled it since then has made everything worse." I felt like the ground was disappearing beneath my feet. "You're supposed to be on my side." "I am on your side. That's why I'm telling you the truth instead of what you want to hear." Some sister you are. Some sister I am. Kalantha, listen to yourself. Everyone who cares about you is trying to help you see that you need to make this right, and you're attacking us for it. After I hung up, I realized I was completely alone. My husband, my friends, my family, even my sister, everyone had turned against me. That evening, I came home to find Adrien packing a suitcase. "Where are you going?" I asked. "I'm staying at my mother's for a few days. I need space to think." "You can't leave. What about Isa?" "She's coming with me. I've already talked to her about it." "You can't take my daughter away from me." "I'm not taking her away, but I'm not leaving her in a house where her parents are constantly fighting either." "We're not constantly fighting. Aren't we? When's the last time we had a conversation that didn't end in an argument about that night?" I couldn't remember. Every interaction we'd had for the past week had somehow circled back to the club, the video, the aftermath. "Adrien, please, don't do this. We can work through this." "Can we? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you think there's nothing to work through." "That's not true." "Then tell me what you think you did wrong that night." I opened my mouth to answer, but no words came. Because admitting I'd done something wrong felt like admitting that everyone else was right, that I was the villain in this story, that my marriage was ending because of my choices. "I thought so," Adrien said quietly. "When you're ready to have an honest conversation about what happened and why it was wrong, call me. Until then, I need to protect myself and our daughter from this chaos." He left with Isa an hour later. She hugged me goodbye, confused and scared, and I promised her everything would be okay. But as I watched them drive away, I realized I had no idea how to make that promise true. The house felt enormous and empty without them. I was completely alone for the first time since this nightmare began, with nothing but my thoughts and the crushing weight of everyone's disappointment. Maybe it was time to admit that they were right. 3 days alone in the house gave me plenty of time to think, and what I thought about wasn't pleasant. I kept replaying that night at the club, but now I was seeing it through everyone else's eyes instead of my own. The woman in that video. Was that really me? The way she moved, the things she said, the complete disregard for her marriage and family. It was like watching a stranger. But it wasn't a stranger. It was me, making choices that had destroyed everything I claimed to care about. On Thursday morning, I called Adrien. "I want to talk," I said. "Really talk, not argue, not defend myself. Just talk." "I'm listening." "Can we meet somewhere? Just the two of us?" He was quiet for a moment. "My lawyer's office, 1 o'clock. "Your lawyer?" "Adrien, I said I wanted to talk, not... If you're serious about talking, then you won't mind doing it in front of a neutral third party, someone who can help us navigate this conversation productively." I didn't want to meet at a lawyer's office, but I was desperate. "Okay, fine." The law office of Peterson and Associates was downtown, in one of those converted historic buildings that was supposed to feel welcoming, but just felt intimidating. The receptionist led me to a conference room where Adrien was already waiting with a woman in her 50s who introduced herself as Sarah Peterson. "Mrs. Price, thank you for coming. Adrien has filled me in on the basic situation, but I'd like to hear your perspective." I looked at Adrien, who was sitting across from me like we were adversaries instead of husband and wife. "I don't really know why we need a lawyer present for a conversation between spouses." "Because our previous conversations haven't been productive," Adrien said, "and because I want everything documented." "Documented for what?" Sarah Peterson opened a thick folder. "Mrs. Price, your husband has asked me to prepare separation papers. Before we proceed with that, he wanted to give you one final opportunity to address the situation that led us here." My blood ran cold. "Separation papers?" "Temporary separation, with provisions for custody, financial support, and asset division. It's a preliminary step that allows both parties to have space while determining whether the marriage can be salvaged." "I don't want a separation." "Then help me understand what you do want," Adrien said. Because from my perspective, you want to pretend that nothing happened and go back to the way things were. That's not true, isn't it? You've spent 2 weeks defending your actions instead of acknowledging how they affected our family. Sarah Peterson leaned forward. Mrs. Price, why don't you tell me, in your own words, what happened that night at the club? I took a deep breath. This was my chance to explain, to make them understand. I went out with friends. We were drinking, dancing, having fun. I got carried away and said some things I shouldn't have said. I danced with some people in a way that probably looked inappropriate. People recorded it and shared it, and now everyone is acting like I committed some terrible crime. Do you think you committed a terrible crime? Sarah asked. No, I think I made some poor choices while I was drunk, but I don't think it warrants destroying my marriage. What about the impact on your husband, your daughter, your family's reputation in the community? I'm sorry about that, I really am, but I can't control how other people react to things. Adrien laughed bitterly. There it is. You're sorry about the impact, but not about the actions that cause the impact. That's not what I said. It's exactly what you said. You're sorry that people saw it and reacted badly, but you're not sorry for what you actually did. Sarah Peterson pulled out a tablet and turned it toward me. Mrs. Price, I'd like you to watch this video and tell me what you see. It was the club video again, but this time, I was watching it in a sterile conference room with my husband and his lawyer, and I couldn't hide behind alcohol or embarrassment or righteous indignation. The woman in the video was me, but she was acting like someone I didn't recognize. She was sexual, available, completely inappropriate. She was grinding against Jesse like they were lovers, touching him in ways that were clearly intimate, announcing to a room full of strangers that she was available for touching. What do you see? Sarah asked when it ended. I see someone who had too much to drink and made some bad decisions. Do you see someone who was faithful to her marriage? The question hung in the air. I wanted to say yes, but the evidence was right there on the screen. I didn't sleep with anyone, I said finally. That's not what I asked. I see someone who was inappropriate, someone who crossed boundaries she shouldn't have crossed. Whose boundaries? My marriage boundaries, my family boundaries. And how do you think that affected your husband? In the lawyer's conference room, I finally looked at Adrien, exhausted, heartbroken, and admitted the truth. My actions had hurt him deeply, embarrassed him publicly, and left Isa confused and scared. Sarah Peterson spread out my vicious texts to Sabine, calling Adrien a drama queen, controlling, jealous, insisting I'd done nothing wrong. Reading them aloud in front of him was excruciating. I had meant those words then. I had been selfish, defensive, indifferent to his pain. She explained the separation agreement, primary custody to Adrien, supervised visitation for me, a public apology, mandatory counseling. Signing meant acknowledging my betrayal as a material breach of our marriage. That night, alone, I faced the reality I'd dodged for weeks. At 3 a.m., I called Sabine and cried, "It's all my fault." She urged me to sign, to take responsibility. The next day, I posted a raw Facebook apology, admitting the betrayal, the excuses, the harm to my family, and signed every page of the agreement. Adrien said quietly, "I need to see real change, no guarantees." 6 months later, in our final therapy session, I told Dr. Martinez we were reconciling. Adrien had moved home. Couples counseling continued. Isa felt secure again. On the back porch that evening, Adrien and I sat in comfortable silence. "I love you," I said. "I'm sorry it took almost losing everything to prove it." He squeezed my hand. "We're getting there." Some mistakes scar forever, but with brutal honesty and relentless work, even the deepest wounds can slowly heal.